How's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for Friday, December 17th, 2021. Just over 2 weeks away now until the WWE Day 1 pay-per-view. We had Smackdown in Chicago, one of WWE's biggest cities. How was this show? Was it a show that would deliver the hype going in, considering it was Chicago? Let's get to it. Let's talk about SmackDown. Shout out to the chat room. Thank you guys for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. We started off SmackDown with a recap from last week with Sami Zayn and Brock Lesnar. The whole deal with Sami Zayn in the wheelchair. Paul Heyman was waiting by the ramp where the cars come in to the backstage area. He was waiting for the champion, the tribal chief, who had not arrived yet in the arena. We then had our first match of the evening, a tag team match. Holla, holla, holla. We had Sasha Banks and Toni Storm up against Shotzi Blackheart and the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. Sasha had Spider-Man inspired ring gear, and Pat McAfee, he said that movie, the new Spider-Man Coming Home movie, whatever it's called, had Toby Keith in it, and I think he meant Tobey Maguire. Anyways, we had the match. Toni Storm, Shotzi Blackheart started things off. Charlotte sent Sasha Banks into the barricade and worked over Sasha for a while. Toni then got the hot tag. However, her momentum was short-lived as Charlotte and Shotzi double-teamed her. Toni then tagged back in to Sasha Banks. Sasha got the upper hand. Toni then tagged herself in again, and Sasha hit the backstabber to Shotzi. Toni then came off the top with a crossbody on Charlotte, but Charlotte kicked out of that. And then Charlotte sent Toni into the turnbuckle, went up top for the moonsault, but she missed. And then Toni, with a roll through, pinned Charlotte Flair to pick up the win. Pretty good match here to open up the show, but I'm still not the biggest fan of having the champion get pinned in a non-title match, especially when Charlotte just lost to Becky Lynch at Survivor Series. Whatever, though. Mo Camera says you seem so bored talking about WWE. Well, let's get to the rest of this recap, and we'll see how bored I was. Or maybe I wasn't bored. Mike Simmons with a $1 super chat. Thank you, Mike. He had no comment, but I appreciate it. And by the way, it's Spider-Man No Way Home. That's the name of the movie. I have not watched a Spider-Man movie in about 12 or 13 years, so I'm not really sure what they're called now. I did like the Sam Raimi trilogy, though. I know that much about it. Anyways, we had the Usos interrupting King Woods, who was backstage with a speech to all of the guys that are not really being used on TV. And Woods said that him and Kofi Kingston would beat the Usos on SmackDown and then beat them again at WWE Day 1. The Usos versus the New Day on SmackDown, even though New Day already has a title match for Day 1. Why? Why are they doing another match before the pay-per-view when the New Day already earned the title opportunity? Just feels like filler to me, but whatever. We had the Viking Raiders come to the ring, and then we had one of these instances on WWE television where somebody comes to the ring, and then there's a bunch of other segments before that match even takes place with the guys that came to the ring. I am not a fan of this Maybe they've been doing this for a long time, but I seem to be noticing it more recently. So Viking Raiders come to the ring. Then we have Natalya interviewed about the whole storyline with Xia Li, who just made her debut. Natalya talked about having the most pay-per-view matches of any woman in WWE history. She laughed at Xia Li, calling herself a protector, yada, yada, yada. Xia Li's a nobody, so on and so forth. And then we had a Raw rebound, a Raw recap, 36 minutes into the show. And once again, the Viking Raiders are just standing in the ring. I'm not sure if they're jerking off in there or what they're doing, but they're just standing in the ring as we get to see a Raw rebound. Don't they usually put the Raw rebound like right at the end of the show or right before the ending segment? It's so weird. But anyways, yeah, after all this, we finally had the Viking Raiders versus Jinder Mahal and Shanky. Holla, holla, holla. Tag team match. Michael Cole said that this was a very important match. Very important match. Nicholas Easy with a $3 super chat. Not sure if he hacked Psycho Jet Black's account. He says, is Madcap Moss more over than Marco Stunt? No, I would say Marco Stunt is more over than Madcap Moss. I would say pretty much everybody on planet Earth is more over than Madcap Moss at this point. And we'll get to Moss here in just a little bit. Anyways, tag team match. Very standard stuff. Just your run-of-the-mill tag team match. You had Eric slamming Ivar onto Jinder Mahal, which is always a cool spot. But Mahal kicked out. Shanky tagged in. The Raiders double-teamed Shanky. And then Ivar hit the big splash off the top and pinned Shanky. Viking Raiders building up some momentum. But get this, guys. Very important match. The Viking Raiders win this very important match, which is leading to them getting a big opportunity next week. For the tag team titles? No. Instead, next week, they will be competing in a 12-man gauntlet match with the winner getting an opportunity at Shinsuke Nakamura's Intercontinental title. Yes. Big important match. And now the Viking Raiders are going to be competing for an opportunity at the IC title. Alrighty then. So yeah, Sami Zayn was backstage complaining about how he still hasn't gotten his IC title rematch. So Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville came up with this 12-man gauntlet match, 12 days of Christmas. They're going to have a 12-man gauntlet match for next week's show, which is actually being taped in Chicago. They're taping 2 shows. Next week's SmackDown will be taped. Spoilers should be up on No DQ probably by the time many of you watch this on demand. Anyways, moving on here, we had Paul Heyman still waiting for Roman Reigns to arrive, and a car pulled up, but it was actually Brock Lesnar that arrived, and Lesnar wished Paul Heyman luck with his upcoming conversation with Roman Reigns. We then had, oh boy, we had Baron Corbin, Happy Corbin, whatever the hell he calls himself these days, and Madcap Moss for another edition of Happy Talk. The hottest segment in sports entertainment today. These guys, they spared no expense. Happy Corbin must be truly a wealthy man now because they shipped Adam Pearce's table with the sword in it all the way from Los Angeles to Chicago for this segment. They started making some jokes about Drew McIntyre. They should have said Drew McIntyre, actually. It would have been funnier than what they actually said. Madcap Moss said something about how Drew McIntyre losing his sword makes him the Glasgow Ditz instead of the Glasgow Kiss. The usual stupid jokes. And guess what? Chicago erupted in a CM Punk chant. Yes, CM Punk chant. First time since CM Punk signed with AEW, we got the CM Punk chant. Mike Simmons sent in a $5 super chat, but retracted his message. Well, thank you for the super chat, Mike. I think your question was about the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar Day 1 match, so I'll answer that at the end and give my thoughts on that, but thank you for the super chat. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $2 super chat. He says, whose laugh was more annoying, Madcap or Tony Atlas? Oh, Tony Atlas had the worst laugh, but Tony Atlas was still more over than Madcap Moss. Him and Rocky Johnson, first African-American tag team champions in WWE/WWF. So Madcap Moss will have to do a hell of a lot to even come close to being as over as Tony Atlas. Anyways, back to the segment. After the CM Punk chants were done, they tried to pull out the sword from the table. Could not do it. Drew McIntyre showed up and he asked if they were having performance issues because they could not pull it out. Ha ha ha, very funny. And then there was a big fight. Drew McIntyre got the best of them and then showed his true strength by pulling out that sword. And he tried to murder Corbin by swinging the sword at him, but Moss pulled him out. This segment was just awful. Really terrible segment. Well deserved for the CM Punk chants. Now, somebody on Twitter was like, that's disrespectful for people to chant CM Punk while these guys are out there trying to entertain people. You know what? I agree on that when you got people in the ring putting their bodies on the line in the match. But when it's two guys out there doing terrible comedy, I think if there was ever a time where it's justifiable, it would be this time. And Mike Simmons, the question is, do you think WWE will swerve us with Paul Heyman turning on Brock Lesnar? That is a great question, and I will answer that here in just a few moments, so stay tuned. Thank you very much, Mike Simmons, for the super chats. I very much appreciate it. So I talked about the Sami Zayn segment, and then we had Ridge Holland versus Antonio Cesaro. Ridge Holland attacked Cesaro in the ribs while Sheamus was taunting Cesaro. Cesaro got distracted by Sheamus, looking over at Sheamus instead of his opponent, and he got hit with the ribs. Now, this was before the match even started. After the commercial break, the match did start. And all I can say is, stupid babyface Cesaro getting distracted by Sheamus. Sheamus did manage to make a comeback. He was holding his ribs. He was struggling, but he was able to get some offense. But then Sheamus distracted Cesaro again. And for the second time in one match, Cesaro got distracted by Sheamus. Stupid babyface X2. And Madcap Moss picked up the win with the power slam. I think it was Al Snow's snowplow. And Madcap Moss picks up the victory. Poor Cesaro. Maybe he will win the underutilized award in the No DQ year-end awards again. I'm not sure he's in the lead, but he might take the lead after tonight. Walter Cruz says SmackDown became the sword and the stone, LOL. Yeah. Two bad back-to-back segments in a row. This was a terrible segment. Then we had Naomi come into the ring, and she had a Christmas list. But only one thing is on it. She wants Sonya Deville one-on-one. Sonya came out wearing her suit. Same song and dance. She said as long as she's wearing the suit, Naomi cannot touch her. And she has another opponent for Naomi. Shayna Baszler. Naomi dared Sonya to get in the ring. Naomi got in the ring. And then Shayna Baszler attacked Naomi from behind. Shayna said, ring the bell, start the match. The match began. Shayna was dominating, but then got a little bit too cocky. And about 45 seconds to a minute into the match, Naomi beat Shayna Baszler with a surprise roll-up. This was such a waste of time. They're just dragging this out. They're doing the same thing every single week. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat on this topic. Thank you very much, Walter. He says, are they dragging this out until WrestleMania? Please just have Naomi join the bloodline and get this over with. It's been way too long. I agree 100%. They might be dragging it out to WrestleMania. I don't know why else they're doing the same thing every single week, but it's really getting boring. I have no interest in seeing this match now. It should have been done a month ago, or even more than a month ago. I just don't care anymore. I want to see Naomi in the bloodline. I'm beyond tired of this. And, of course, Shayna Baszler looks like a complete fool, but they've been booking her like crap for a while now. And Darren says, will Shayna ever be a WWE champion? Probably not at this point. I'm not thinking so. And by the way, that's 3 bad segments in a row. 3 back-to-back bad segments. We had Corbin and Madcap Moss hiding out in some dark room, and they were asked about Drew McIntyre, and Corbin volunteered Madcap Moss's services for the Day 1 pay-per-view. So yeah, Day 1, it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. Does this count as 4 bad segments in a row? Just wondering. I saw this at the house show in Saginaw, Michigan this past weekend, and it's fine for a house show match, although not really something I would go out of my way to see if I knew in advance what the card was. But yeah, they're going to do this on a pay-per-view. Madcap Moss versus Drew McIntyre. Okay. I mean, I would say put it on the kickoff, but do you really want a Drew McIntyre match on the kickoff? Like, this just does not seem like a good segment to have on a pay-per-view. Just saying. And that means we're getting Corbin probably at the Royal Rumble, so they're going to drag this storyline out too. I mean, come on. Then we had the New Day versus the Usos in a match that we are supposed to be seeing at Day 1, but we're getting a non-title match with nothing on the line but momentum. They're just doing a match for the sake of doing a match. And, you know, these guys always have good matches, but it was pretty standard. Holla, holla, holla. Another tag match on this show. What are they, AEW now with all the tag matches? Anyways, Xavier Woods tried to get the tag, but the referee didn't see it, so the referee said it did not count. Usos double-teamed Kofi for a while. Woods eventually got the legal tag, and then Woods had a top rope leg drop. Jay kicked out of it, and then Kofi tagged in. Jimmy was in. Kofi missed the tip, the Trouble in Paradise, and then Jimmy hit a super kick, but Kofi kicked out of that. And then Jay tried to tag in, but he had the same misfortune that happened to Woods earlier. Referee did not see the tag, and Jay was screwed. Jimmy was in the ring. Kofi hit the tip and picked up the win. And they get their momentum. Whoop-de-doo. They already had the title match, but now they have more momentum going into the pay-per-view. Walter Cruz with another $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. I very much appreciate it. He says, have Naomi go to the ring, say, you forgot who I married. Then she tells Uso and Roman to not come out until she gets what she wants. Hold SmackDown hostage. That would be fine. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do to turn this around. I'm just so tired of this Naomi storyline with Sonya Deville, and I just want Naomi to go heel. I don't care how they get to that. I just want them to do it and get her with the bloodline. And they might need a new member of the bloodline. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. A lot of people talking about the end of the show. So let's get to that right now. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying this video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and give the video a like. Every like on YouTube helps me as far as getting more views for the video goes. That's how YouTube determines which videos are relevant. Make sure you guys give the video a like, and of course, spread the word as much as you can. That is very much appreciated. All right, main event segment. Roman Reigns coming to the ring for a promo. Brand new t-shirt. He's got this t-shirt needle mover. Several months ago, Roman Reigns did an interview and said that CM Punk is not a needle mover. And this was right before CM Punk debuted in AEW. WWE finally put out a t-shirt with this phrase. And it's funny because it's a meter, and the bottom of the meter has the term jobber. It goes from jobber to mid-carder to main eventer to tribal chief. And of course, the meter is pointed at tribal chief. Interesting that they would use the term jobber on a t-shirt. This might be the first time that they've ever used the term jobber on a t-shirt, to my knowledge. Maybe the Job Squad had it. I'm not sure. So this was interesting that this shirt would debut in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown. But there were no CM Punk chants for this segment. That's how over Roman Reigns is, that the crowd didn't even bother trying. Maybe they did, and they just got drowned it out. But yeah, Roman came out there, and the fans were going crazy for him, like huge reaction. They were chanting Roman. He was getting like a baby face, almost, dare I say, a Stone Cold level reaction for Roman Reigns. Brytrod sent in a $4 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Says, hey, Aaron, love to watch your videos while I snack. LOL. Well, hopefully you're having some healthy vegetables, as Randy Santel might say. Roman Reigns came in to the ring, told the crowd to acknowledge him, and they responded with even more Roman Reigns chants. No boos, or if there were boos, they were drowned out by cheers. Roman Reigns got this huge babyface reaction in Chicago, and I'm kind of surprised considering the t-shirt. I guess that just goes to show that there's still a larger part of the audience that doesn't really follow the inside terms and all that stuff and really knows what the significance of the t-shirt is. They just might say, oh yeah, Roman Reigns, he's the top guy, he's the needle mover. I thought it was going to be the smart fans completely crapping on this, but they did not. They were into Roman Reigns, and he was upset about his cousins losing to the New Day, but he said they're his blood. It's okay. However, he's got a bone to pick with Paul Heyman, who is not in his blood. He said that he cannot have people disrespecting him, and he asked, can he trust the wise man? Heyman, as far as Roman was concerned, was acting a bit shady last week in that segment with Brock Lesnar and Sami Zayn. Reigns wanted to know, is Paul Heyman the special counsel, or is he an advocate? Why is Paul Heyman protecting Brock Lesnar from Roman Reigns? Heyman got on the mic and said that is not the case. As a matter of fact, Paul Heyman said that he is protecting Roman Reigns from Brock Lesnar. Crowd oohed and awed this big moment. Roman Reigns, like the mafia boss, gave Paul Heyman a hug, said he loves the wise man. He thanks Paul Heyman for his honesty. He thanks Paul Heyman for 40 years of service to his family. But he's fired. Paul Heyman fired as the special counsel, and then Roman Reigns hits him with a Superman punch. Then Roman Reigns went for some steel chairs, and he was going to hit Paul Heyman with the concerto. And that's when Brock Lesnar's music hit. Lesnar attacked the Usos, took them both down with F5s, got in the ring. Roman started hitting him with the steel chair, but then Lesnar, I should say, got the upper hand on Reigns and hit him with two F5s back to back. and the announcers were talking about how maybe Heyman was right, that he was protecting Roman Reigns from Brock Lesnar. So big angle here to close the show. I loved it. This was far and away the highlight of SmackDown, like by a long shot, a very long shot. This was a great segment. Everybody did well. And to answer that super chat question from earlier, could this be a swerve? Is this Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns putting the trap in on Brock Lesnar? Very well could be the case. And whatever the case is, they got me intrigued for the match now. I hope it's not the end of Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, because I love their pairing. The whole wise man thing, it's very entertaining. And Paul Heyman as a babyface just doesn't seem to work. So it very well could be a swerve, and Brock Lesnar will have to maybe win the Royal Rumble to get one more match at WrestleMania. And maybe he finally beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Seems to be a logical direction. Or maybe Paul Heyman will in fact stay with Brock Lesnar. And maybe Brock wins the title. But I'm feeling a swerve is a possibility here. Now, let's get to the letter grade. It's a tough one because a lot of this show I thought was crap. But the main event segment was awesome. I'm going to go... Unfortunately, a lot of the show dragged this down for me. So I'm going with a C+. I would have gone lower. If the main event segment did not deliver, it would have been lower. I'm going with a C+. The opening women's tag match was pretty decent, but I'm not a fan of Charlotte taking that loss when she's the champion. Most of the show was crap. I would say avoid it, but the main event segment is definitely a must-watch. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $2 super chat, says, will Sheamus win the gauntlet and finally win the Intercontinental title? Maybe. Who knows at this point? Who knows if Shin will lose the title? Maybe he'll just keep the IC title forever. Guess we'll see. But again, the spoilers you can check out over on NoDQ.com. We should have them up by the end of Friday night, but they should be available this weekend. NoDQ.com. Stay tuned for the latest wrestling news and rumors. Yeah, I guess Sheamus versus Nakamura would be a good match for the IC title, so yeah, that's fine. Seeing a lot of C pluses as far as the letter grade goes. Martin says C plus, main event was real good. Dwayne Atkinson, C minus. Mike B with a B minus. Matt Helms with a C. MVP Kev with a C plus, and Darren with a C minus. The poll in the chat room, 52% thumbs up. All right. 9% thumbs down, 27% thumbs middle, and 12% did not watch. The last segment was an A for sure, but it's the rest of the show that really brought it down. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for tonight with SmackDown. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Like I said, NoDQ.com will keep you posted with the latest news and rumors. And I will see you guys next week. We got a lot of interesting content. By the way, YouTube.com/Aaron Rift, my personal account. We are going to be doing a Beatles panel Tuesday night after NXT. First time we're ever doing a non-wrestling panel with Team No DQ. Check that out Tuesday night, and we got all the usual videos coming up. Stay tuned for all that, and I will see you guys next time.